Hey guys, Mark here. I hope you are well. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make another style of a rope mat. This one is of a fairly round shape and it is very simple to do. As such, it is very appropriate for both beginners or for those more experienced. It is suitable for a hot pad under hot dishes, for making a small coaster, or even a very small doormat. Here you can see an example of this style of a mat. As you can see, it has 3 strands running through the entire mat. This makes it a 3-pass version. It has 7 bites on the sides. Here is a variant. For comparison, this is a 4-pass version, meaning that it has 4 strands running through the mat. Now, how many strands you're going to use depends completely on the size of the mat that you would like. All in all, this is a very simple mat to do, so let's jump right into it. First off, we're going to need to cover the supplies needed for our mat. The only vital supply is a piece of rope. In my case, I'm going to be using some hemp rope, but you can also choose to use cotton, manila, sisal, old climbing rope, whatever you have available. The diameter of my rope is going to be 1/4 of an inch. You can use larger or thinner ropes depending on the use for your mat. The length of my rope really depends on the number of passes that I'm about to do. In a 3-pass version of the mat, you're going to need about 20 feet of rope. In a 4-pass version, I use about 27 feet of rope. So each pass uses up about 7 feet of 1/4 inch rope. So with this covered, we know the diameter of the rope and the length required. The second supply that I use is a pair of scissors or a knife to cut my cord with. After I cut my rope to length, I usually use some duct tape to secure the 2 ends of my rope. This prevents the 2 ends from unraveling or fraying. And the final supply that I use is some thread and a needle, which I use to stitch together the mat after I tie it. So here you can see that on the underside of the mat, I stitched together the 2 ends to hold them in place. This is something that I do recommend. So now we are ready to begin. I have now cut a length of rope for my mat. First off, I'm going to secure the ends of my rope using some tape. After securing both ends of my rope, I'm going to fold it in half like this, and at the middle point of my rope, I'm going to begin tying. We begin tying at the middle point in our rope. Take the left end and make a loop or hitch, like this. create a second loop exactly the same way, like this. So we have two loops or hitches. Take the first hitch and place it over the second one like this. Now take the left end, so our working end, and use it to travel over, under to over. So over, under to, and over. So this is what we have so far. Take the same end and travel over, under these two cords, over, and under. So again, over, under to, over, under. So this is what we have so far. You can see that we have a series of pairs that we can split at this point. So take the same working end, enter here with an over, then under, over, under, over, under, and over. So again, we went over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. Finally, take your working end, pass it right alongside the other working end, creating the final bite. So we have 7 bites, and this is one pass of our mat. To continue, we're going to double up and then triple up our mat. Take your working end and follow or chase the other end through the mat. Once you run out of rope in one of your ends, so the working end, take the standing end, so the other end, and again work it into the mat. Again, we're going to follow or chase the other end, like this, then continue all through the mat. Once you have used up both ends, you're going to have one of two options. Either you have tripled up your mat and the two ends are going to meet. More commonly, you're going to have a bit of a loose knot, so some parts are going to be tripled up, while some are not. This means that the knot is a bit too loose. At this point, I'm going to start removing some slack out of the knot so I can continue tripling it up. So as you can see, I got some slack into my working hand by tightening up my mat a little bit. I'm going to continue this process until the two ends of my rope are going to meet up. After adjusting your mat for a while, the two ends of your rope are going to meet up. This is what we have been looking for, since now we can stitch the two ends together. This is going to prevent the two ends from slipping out of the mat and basically ruining the mat. At this point, you can skip right into stitching and stitch the two ends together. In my case, I'm going to make the two ends look a bit better by removing this duct tape and replacing it with a whipping. So first off, I'm going to remove the duct tape. To whip the ends of your rope, we're going to be using a piece of thread or cordage. Now usually the thread is going to be of a similar color to the rope. For making things easier to see, I'm going to be using a red thread. Fold the end of your thread like this, basically creating a bite. Place the end over the end of your rope. Then with the long end, start wrapping around the end of your rope. After doing a series of wraparounds, take the end of your thread, feed it through the bite bottom up, like this, then pull in the bite by pulling on this standing end. Pull the working end to about the middle point in your whipping. So now the two ends are at about the middle point in the whipping. Now pull on both of the ends to tighten the whipping up. Trim the two ends. And the whipping is complete. Now place your end back into the mat. Then do the same thing with the other end. To stitch my mat, I'm going to take a needle, thread it, and tie an overhand knot on the other side of my thread. This is going to help me anchor my thread. I'm going to stitch all of these strands together. I start off going towards the top, like this. Then down through all of my strands, like this. So through all 4 of my strands. Then back up, again through all 4 strands, like this. Then down again, up again, finally down again 2 strands, like this. Now lock off the strand, basically stitching it like this, so creating a loop, then threading your thread through and tightening up. And do it for a second time. Like this, passing through, tightening up, like this. Then run your thread through a couple of more strands, like this. Then trim the ends of your thread. And this is the finish for your mat. So guys, this is the 2-hitch rope mat. The 2 ends are hidden under a section at the bottom of the mat. On the bottom you can see the whippings and the stitching since they are done in color red. If we used more of a natural color, the stitching and the whippings would be less visible. All in all, this is going to be a great mat under hot dishes on the table. Guys, I sincerely thank you for joining me in today's tutorial. The result is a nice looking and functional rope mat. I hope that you're going to join me in future tutorials as well. See ya next time.